So I'll tell you what, we'll get started right now. So I wanted to just go over a couple of quick things. So hopefully everybody has gotten the project. I am immediately going to start showing my screen with you because I have some stuff to go over. It's not a, like I said, it's not a dramatic amount of stuff, but I want to be able to show you. And like I said, please feel free to pop some stuff in the chat if you need to. Jordan, just keep on dancing. It's very entertaining. So I want to show you something, and I really don't know how to go about trying to correct this situation, but it's actually not those of you that are on. Most of you are my OGs that have been with me since the beginning and being on the Zoom meetings. But if you kind of look at, this is how I see our channel right now. You all can see this, right? My YouTube our school YouTube channel. The only thing that's really bumming me out, it's funny because I constantly get questions from students, you know, asking me questions about stuff I've already made videos on. And I think I know why that is, because I put a video out and I don't really have anything more than 5, 7, 15, 20 views on it. So I would really encourage everybody to please watch these videos. The sad part is we have 75 students. So, so for the Zoom meeting I did a few days ago, 9 people looked at it. So you'll probably see me, not probably, you'll see me send out messages kind of telling people to please check out these videos, look at them. There's so much information that I cover. If you do miss a meeting or one of these live sessions because you have class or something, this is a great resource. You can always go back and look at things too. But once we start doing the more complicated projects and working on the laptops, it's not really optional to miss these live sessions, because you're just going to fall behind in a crazy way. So I bring all this up because I record these sessions. So I'm going to send an email out tomorrow saying, please, 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 please try and view these as much as possible. So I do go, as you know, and you see now, I go in the analytics to see if everybody's in Schoology, how much time are you spending in Schoology, and are you actually looking at the work that I'm giving out. So just keep up. If you have not, please start. If you have, I appreciate it. But please make sure you're checking out these videos. Yesterday's was all about the exploratory project on texture. I covered some pretty interesting stuff about that and how to really do a good job. Oh, I got 1 like. I'm super thrilled about that. Maybe I can go for 2. I can double the amount of likes. So moving on. So right now we're talking about working on the project of designing your workspace. Okay. And that's under Marking Period 2 under Workspace Design. Now you'll see I'm actually kind of breaking it down a little bit. I mentioned this yesterday. I'm going to be sending out, actually Mr. Folk is going to be sending out a survey to all of you. And I like to survey my students, how are things going in the program? Do you feel like we're covering everything? Do we communicate enough? Are the folders organized? Do you understand what's going on? So please take the time and fill out the survey when you do get it. I will take whatever feedback you want, as long as you're not cursing and saying stuff about my mom. But anything useful that you can put in here that's going to help us in the program and help you as a student kind of be a successful student. So you're going to notice I'm actually breaking this down a little bit more. So you can see it's not finished yet. I have to add some things down here, but I'm kind of clarifying some things on the stages on how I'd like for you to do things. So these actual first few days, you should have kind of written up your proposal that you would be submitting to the bank. And there's a link on Schoology here. So if you go into Schoology, you'll see it. This is my teacher view. You won't see this folder. But if you go into Marking Period 2 and you're a first level student, actually, I'll pretend I'm viewing this page as a first year. So you will see exactly, here we go, exactly what you see. So this is, hopefully you've noticed I've cleaned up the main page for Schoology to make life a little bit more easier, a little bit more organized. So hopefully, I got rid of Marking Period 1. We're done with Marking Period 1. There's no reason to look at it so you don't get confused and figure out where you're at. Daily attendance is right here. Please do your daily attendance. And then, like I said, all the important links, I even put descriptions in. But you're going to go into Marking Period 2, okay? And you'll even see you're level 1, obviously. and here's design your workspace. So the first thing you're going to do is upload your written proposal, okay? And you'll have a submit button right here. But I'm actually, broke it all down for you on what you need to submit. So that's the very first thing. Some of you have actually sent them already. Thank you very much. But please make sure that you're going to submit that for me, please, okay? So I wanted to kind of show you a little bit of what I'm talking about with, now that you're done your submission, hopefully, and you've followed those 3 questions to write it. Who are you? What's your business? And why? Well, why are you going into this field? People love a personal story. If I'm a bank and I'm giving you $10,000, well, why do I want the money? And you could say, well, my name's Fred McCarthy, and I'd like to open up a photography studio in downtown Hatboro because ever since I was a kid, I've always taken pictures, and I love to capture memories and blah, 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 blah. So you're tugging on the heartstrings. You're trying to give people a reason why. The next thing is what is the equipment you're going to need and why? Obviously, if I'm a photographer, I'm going to need a camera. I'm going to need lights, an office space and things like that. You might not want to try and put in there like I need an ice cream machine. Now, while that would be pretty awesome, I don't think a bank is going to pay for your vanilla chocolate and strawberry ice cream machine. So make sure you kind of put in a list of equipment and, what do you expect to make in your first year? What is your target goal on the money that you're going to make? And how are you going to do that? Are you going to do advertisements and posters? Are you going to do a social media marketing campaign and things like that? So the first thing you should really do, like I said, is set up and start doing your research. So here's something really cool that I found. This is a really good way to show you an example of this company. So I just did a random thing. So this is a studio called Smith Studios. Now, this is a really nice picture of the actual studio space. And believe it or not, in photography and video, you don't need a whole ton of space, okay? So this is a nicely laid out, it's like a modern looking studio. But if you scroll down, here's the blueprint or the floor plan. So this kind of gives you an idea of, because so they're actually selling the studio space to you. So you can actually rent this area for a day, an hour, and shoot, or you can pay them to shoot the stuff in the studio for you, which is pretty cool. So this is what it's showing you. Here's a kitchen, the changing room, the makeup station, and this here is what they call that infinity wall. So go up, here's your infinity wall, there's your staging and makeup area, and the kitchen's over here and storage over there. So you can kind of see how it's all laid out, okay? And it gives you key information about it. This is the height, the size, the makeup area. It has a steamer, so if you're bringing a big bag of clothes and they're all wrinkled, you have everything you need. And another important thing you have, what kind of power does it offer? Does it have internet? I'm not asking you to do all that crazy stuff, but these are some pretty cool things you want to keep in mind. And then this is the actual studio being used, okay? So it's really nice to be able to see, here it is empty, it's a nice amount of space. You can see all the lights up in the ceiling. The equipment is stored right here. Here's an actual shoot. And then once again, the floor plan, and then the studio empty. So this is a really nice way to kind of, get into your head and show you why, you do the things you need to do and hopefully spark some creative ideas. And I basically do what I'm asking you to do is start looking online at floor plans. I would actually say before you even do anything else, probably one of the best things you can do is, and I'm going to drag this sticky over here. So you want to start to brainstorm. And I tell students this all the time. Before you design a logo or you go out on a photo shoot or you're going to write a song, the first thing you do is you're going to get hopefully a piece of paper or your computer screen like this, and you're going to start to brainstorm your ideas. Brainstorm is something you hear all the time that we talk about. Brainstorming is when you're just throwing stuff out there. No idea is too small or too ridiculous or anything. So let's see. I would like to ask anyone here. I'll tell you what. How about we ask Deshauna? What is it that you want to do? What kind of studio? What is it? What career choice do you want to go into?
Photography.
Okay, great. I love photography. We talked about this the other day. So we want to build a photography studio, right? So I have this piece of paper. So if everybody would not mind chiming in or joining in into the group chat. So now we want to start to plan our studio space. Well, what do we need? What do we need to have a studio space to run a business? Don't make me call on you.
Wait, what?
All right. Everybody, I'm going to yell real quick. Hey, everybody pay attention right now. So we are helping Deshauna build a studio space. She wants to be a photographer, and we're going to get ready to start to draw out her studio and figure out what we need. So what do we need? What do we need in a photography studio for people?
Well, you need a green screen.
Awesome. Okay, so let's put that in. We need a green screen, which could also, oh yes, there's another one. So a green screen, we can also put in backdrops. You know, sometimes we get like, you know, different colored backgrounds and cloths and things like that. So we could do green screens and backdrops. Perfect. Camera. Of course you need a camera. So you could do cameras, lenses, and all the equipment that kind of goes with that. You know, tripods.
Prop.
What else?
Lights.
Prop.
Yep. Props is a great one. Let's do the other one. We got lights. You got to have studio lights. Can't take a picture without lights. So you could do studio lights. Okay. Flashes. And then like light stands. So there's all kinds of stuff. Okay. Props. That's great. Okay. Props. So it depends. Woo. So let's try that again. Props. So it depends on what kind of photography you want to do. Let's pretend we want to do portrait photography and we want to shoot, you know, let's do the stereotypical graduation ones. So we're going to need like a cap and gown, multiple sizes, really. We're going to need like that pillar that you lean on. You know, we would need like couches, stools. You know, if you're getting into all different kinds of other portraiture, you could have plants and, oh my goodness. I mean, you could go on and on and on and on and on. If I was just,
microphones.
yeah, microphones, if you're going to do sound equipment and stuff. Sound equipment. What else? If you want to sit down and meet with somebody, what do you usually use? If I have two clients coming in and they want to talk to me, where do you usually go?
Conference room.
Yeah, so a conference room. But let's say you don't have that much money. So let's just say office chairs and a table. Okay. Now, if you're lucky, you could maybe have a conference room. But most small studios just have office chairs and a table. And what's kind of cool is you can actually get those partitions. They're big fabric squares with wheels, and you can even build little spots. And if you want to make it look nice, you know, what else could you have in there? You know, some plants in there, you know, lighting. So if you're doing photography and you want to show people your pictures, how do you do it? What else do you need? How are you going to show?
Screen?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to need a TV screen. I'm not going to sit there and hold my little camera next to your face with a 2-inch screen. So let's do TV monitors.
A waiting area.
A waiting area is also good.
Yes.
And the waiting area.
Receptionist station.
What's that?
A receptionist station.
Yeah, same thing. So that you could do the reception/waiting area. And that can also be, you know, if you're doing photography for people, guess what? You're probably going to need an area for them to change. So it could be a changing room or a changing area so they could put different outfits and things on. You can also, obviously you're going to need your computer equipment, right? Okay, so you're going to need computer equipment. That could be monitors, printers, screens, and then, you know, and a chair and a desk for that. So I think we have a pretty good amount of spot. You know, you can have a little area for coffee, you know, and snacks and things like that. You know, now we're just getting a little overboard, but, you know, I worked in a couple photo studios over the years. Actually, we shot all kinds of stuff. We shot food, products, models. So we actually had a full kitchen. If we had to shoot, we actually would shoot catalog work for a company that made all bakeware and stuff, which was awesome because we had cakes and muffins for lunch. But we needed a full kitchen. They would actually send a food stylist over. They would make the food and then design and make it look nice, and then we would photograph it. But those are some things you want to keep in mind. You know, what kind of, like, so Deshauna, you know, you have to say to yourself, what kind of photography do you want to do? You know, who are you catering to? Is it younger kids? So if that's the case, you don't want to have boring props and things that nobody's going to use. Okay. So you can come up with, so if you, you know, who's your clientele and who you're catering to and things like that. So now that we have this kind of cool list, we can start to think about, okay, well, now I'm getting ready to start to do my design work. So now referring back to here for your design, this is when you want to start coming up with your idea of how you want to lay stuff out. You're starting your basic floor plan. But I'd love to see, and I'm going to ask you for that list of your considerations. I'm going to put that in by tomorrow, and I'll set up an assignment inside the folder on Schoology, and you can upload that. So you can start to do your design, but I'd like to see that piece of paper, or that digital document first of, you know, of what I just did right here. But, you know, let's say we do want to jump ahead and start to do our layout. So I will go to, once again, just to go over it, you want to go to your Google Drive, okay? And you want to hit new. You want to hit new, and then you go to more. So Google Drawings is not its own thing, like you'd see Google Docs and Google Sheets and Google Slides. So it's actually under the more column, which I wish they would move it. But so you go to Google Drawings, and you're going to get this blank canvas. I started covering this a couple days ago, but you know, for those of you that, like I said, have not seen this yet, just do a little refresher course. So now I have this scary blank empty canvas. So now you want to say to yourself, okay, well, how do I want to design? I hate the background with all these checkers. So I'm just going to pick a light, you know, a light gray background. The checkers are too busy for me. They confuse me. So I have this canvas now, and it's adjustable. You can make it bigger. You can keep it in this direction, but now you're just starting to think to yourself, okay, so I'm going to size this over here a little. Hold on. I want to take my checklist now, and I am going to move it over here. Okay. All right. And now I can start to think. Now this is so much easier. So instead of looking at this big, scary, empty board, now you have the list next to you. So you can start to think about what you want to do. So we can work sideways here. So I'm going to start putting in just some very basic shapes. Okay. Here is the front door. Okay. So I can put a little box. Whoop. Okay. There's my front door. Okay. As an entrance, and you can label an entrance, but we're just, you know, what we call like down and dirty, just doing a rough design. Okay, so we can go grab another shape. So usually when somebody wants to, you know, when you walk in that front door, you have your reception desk, right? And then somebody sits there, and then you have another shape, and then that's where they sit. Okay. Now like some of you had just mentioned, you could say, oh, okay, I also want to have a waiting area. So you could do another shape, where you can just put in you know, these are chairs, for example, like nice cushy chairs. And the nice thing too is you can just dupe these. So you can go copy, paste. And the nice thing is, what is it? It's the same size, right? And I can even select two of these and go copy and then paste. Okay. So now you got 4 chairs. So please don't, like, some of you get caught in this, all right, I'm going to draw every chair. No, because you're going to be there forever. So I just easily made 4 chairs right there, right? So, wow, I made a circle before for that chair. Well, guess what? I'm going to copy this chair, and I'm going to put it over here. But guess what? Whoop. I'm going to make this a plant. So here's a chair, and here's a plant. We'll get to that later. So now you have your reception area. Now, I can actually start to see that I'm quickly starting to fill up my space because my scale is wrong. So I can actually click and drag. So let me show you that one more time. I'm going to click right here and drag. Darn it. Click and drag, and then watch. I can make this stuff smaller. So some students right off the bat were like, Mr. McCarthy, the stuff, I made way too much stuff and it's too big. Well, here you go. So now you just opened up way more space in your room. So when you do a photography studio, you want to load it up in the corner because it's out of the way. You can put it against the wall. Corners are nice because it gives you more depth. So now you can start to do some funkier shapes, or for instance, you can even do freehand stuff if you want. I like to go to Scribble. So I want to show that this is sitting in a corner, so I can actually just, this is rough, but it kind of gives me an idea of what I want to do because you have this nice corner wall. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. Now, if I had extra time, I would actually draw that shape. So maybe I could do something like this with a curve. Woo! And do something where it connects them all. It's pretty awful, but it's a good start. You know what I mean? So, whoopsie. So you can go back over here. This is your move tool with the arrow. So if I put this in a weird spot, you're like, I don't like it here. Well, guess what? You can move it over here. If you get real close to it, you can make it bigger and smaller. There's so many options. I mean, I could sit here all day. You can rotate it. Once you really start to get into this, you really do have to kind of dedicate like a half an hour or 45 minutes to get into it, okay? But this looks good enough, okay, as a studio area. Actually, you might want to make that bigger because if you think about it, if this is a table, this needs to be bigger. If this was my size, then my studio is as big as a table, then it ain't going to work, okay? So once again, you want to go in here some more. And like I said, you can really start having fun with this. Keep putting those shapes in. You could say, okay, here is my professional desk area right here where we review all the images and stuff. And then you can say, oh, by the way, I want to put a LCD monitor right here so everybody can see what it is. Now, the cool part is if you click on text, you can actually click here. Whoopsie. If you notice, I double clicked on it and you can actually type in what it is, TV, okay? Monitor. And there's really no way to do this wrong because if you make a mistake, you can just go back. You can go Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, and then you can always add them again. It's pretty cool. So if you hit, I'm sorry, if you're on PCs, you hit Control Z to go back. And if you hold the Shift key down while you hold Control, you can bring it back again. See what I mean? So don't be afraid to make mistakes and to try things out. That's what it's all about. Okay. Now I'm going to end like that kind of segment for now, but eventually what you're going to start to do too is you're going to go in and you're going to start adding colors, like a color scheme. Okay. Same thing with the chairs. Like I said, this could be, you're going to make this little plant. And let's say, I know this is a cloud, but guess what? Now it's a plant. So I put this little puffy cloud in there. Well, guess what? I go in here, I click, I put green in there. Now what does it look like? It looks like a plant. So you can be creative and come up with some cool stuff, but eventually, you're going to start to see everything come together. Now I'm going to show you one last time. Does anybody have questions about what I just did? Or you can put them in the text or you can just blurt it out. Anybody got questions? It's pretty cool. A lot of people didn't know that this program exists in Google. So it's a fun little thing. You can start applying this. Lamont, you raised your hand, buddy. Go ahead.
So I was wondering, for the attendance, I don't see like today's attendance. I don't see like the date for today's.
Okay. Did you do today's attendance question, Mr. Folk? Yeah. Okay. Where's it at? Let's see real quick. We'll jump over here. Let me see. So if you go to daily discussion post right here, right? You should see it is actually all the way down here, discussion number 42. Okay, yeah. Cool. It's usually, the one at the bottom is the most current one, okay? There you go. Okay. We usually don't put the date on them because If you're behind a few days, you can still turn all 5 days in at the end of the week. We don't really recommend that because sometimes you're busy and you don't think you don't realize you're going to be busy on Friday and you're jamming to get it done. So try to just do them every day. I always talk about that, trying to get into that habit of being, get organized. You get up, you check your email, you do your daily discussion, you go to Schoology, you do your daily discussion, see what's going on.
I still don't see.
They're usually posted by 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'll tell you what, Lamont, when we're done this session, stick around and I will show you, okay? Because I'm going to wrap this up real quick. Cool? Okay. So I have my design here, but guess what? I'm going to jump ahead and kind of show you, where did I put it? I want to show you, it's in here, kind of a finished studio. So I'm going to jump ahead and kind of show you what I want to see. And hold on, I'll get to it in a second. It's in my folder. And here it is. Okay, so I'm going to open this up and then I'll let you see it real quick. All right. Here we go. Ta-da. So this is kind of what it's going to look like towards the end. This is like a finished piece. It's a little fuzzy, but sorry about that because I pulled it off the internet. But you want to create this environment. Here's the door, here's your control room, here's your studio, here's a table with chairs. This is for video, so you're doing an interview with a TV in the background. But one thing, and I will cover this right now, is you need to create what's called like a symbol legend. Okay, a legend is telling people what this is. Okay, like I don't know what a triangle is. Well, obviously this is a camera. This is a chair. Because when I first opened it, I didn't know what half of this stuff was. But you're sitting here and showing people this squiggle is this and this triangle is that. So you want people to understand what it is that they're looking at, because most likely they're going to be looking at this when you're not around. And trust me, you don't want them calling you, bothering you, saying, what's this and what's that? Okay. So eventually this is what we're going to kind of look for as a finished piece. Now that's not to say that you can't like go bananas and, take it to the next level. Some of you are a little bit more creative. It's always good to throw colors in there too. This is great. Color coding goes a long way. I'm not a big fan of all these lines. I guess it's a hardwood floor, but you can start to come up with that color scheme. This is way more, this is actually a bedroom floor plan, but it kind of gives you an idea of what you can start to look at. Here's another, just a basic idea. But when you look at something like this, and then look at something like that, if you can even meet it in the middle, that's nice too. And here's one that's like way off the deep end that some students really get into, is something like that. Start to do some 3D, but you can find images and stuff like that. Trust me when I say I am not asking you to do this, but this just kind of gives you an idea of what's possible. But as you can see, this is nice because it's color coded. Private offices are red, studios are gray, equipment room is orange, lounges are certain colors, okay? So that gives you a nice idea of how you want stuff broken up, okay? Questions on that? Everybody, does that make sense to you? Okay, cool. So that's really all I had for today. We actually ran a little bit late. As you can see, I like this project. I like getting into it. It's fun to kind of come up with these designs and stuff. So, refer back to this recording, please, if you had any questions or you need to look at it one more time. But other than that, I will set you loose for the day. Don't forget, no live session tomorrow, but please keep an eye out for a very important email I'm going to send you just about, the next couple upcoming weeks, and the importance of, make sure you're checking in and answering your questions and doing all that stuff. But there will be live sessions next week. Even though we're not here, it doesn't matter. Like I said, you're all virtual anyway. So Monday and Tuesday, we'll probably do live sessions. So if you can, please start to do your list, and please start to do, your basic rough layout. So when you do, and you may have questions, you can ask me next week, okay? So really, that is all I had for today. Does anybody